Today I want to talk about changes in prostitution and why I can't find anyone or can't get sex and why I've not had sex all my life. Before we go any further, the only sex I've had in my whole life is actually being sexually abused as a child. And also I'm 43 years of age. Many people have told me that you're supposed to go with a stale person, someone that's old, someone that's ugly, somebody that's wrinkly, not supposed to be with a sexual type, not even supposed to have sex anymore. Some people say at 40 you're not even supposed to have sex anymore, and I'm past that age. And then there's others, they say you can't have prostitutes or anything like that. But we'll come to all this later on. But I'll just quickly mention that in a previous life, according to a psychic, when I had a reading about 15 years or more ago, she basically said that I was a female working in a laboratory and I died at a very young age. And she says I was sexually abused as a child in that life, and I never had a partner in that life either. In this life, I'm being mistaken as Sven, Liam, and also get trouble with my real name, Justin. And basically, these people have molested children or have raped women and molested women, beat women and children about as well. And I'm being mistaken as these people, and it's coming back with violent threats and many other different things. I can have over 140 threats in one day. I can have over 100 people photograph me in one day, mistaking me as this person called Liam, threatening to either knife me, to take my life away, to smash my head off, to bash my brains in, to smash all my teeth out, to inject me with HIV or other substances like snake venom or whatever you want to call it, to basically putting me in a hospital bed, to breaking in, to shooting me dead, and to ripping my life to pieces and breaking in, and then to cause misery once I've had all my stuff gone and my evidence or whatever you want to call it destroyed. So it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. Anyway, let's get to the prostitution stage, shall we? Well, back in the 1990s, you had child prostitutes. So when they were about 8 years old onwards, they would shag men in their 50s, 60s and so on for about 10p to about £80. Depending on whereabouts in the UK you are. In that time, I was only a child myself, or just coming into a teenager, depending on what time of the 1990s it is. And obviously, people were rough in that time, so people, unless you were in the right place at the right time, which I wasn't, meant I never had a partner, never had sex or anything like that. But anyway, you had child prostitutes in that time. Back in the day when Jesus Christ had sex with Mary Magdalene, you had child prostitutes back in that time as well. So it's been the same. There's been no changes right up until the early 2000s, right throughout human history. Once we reached the early 2000s, prostitutes became very slim and hardly any at all, apart from the occasional Asian ones in the UK. And then a lot of those would only give blowjobs rather than sex. When I had the internet from 2005 onwards, going to Bridgewater Library, I used dating sites that closed down on me. I made payments with postal orders or whatever. In that time they closed down on me. And anyone I was speaking to that was sexy were telling me that I was a sicko, or telling me that I'm supposed to go with the negative type, and that only people that are rough or serious looking or people that go clubbing are entitled to the sexual type. When we reached around about 2008, they started moaning about the age gaps. In America it was fine, so even if you're in your 30s or 40s you could still get a teenager in that time period. But that soon changed almost dramatically not long after that time period. The prices went up obviously, so the average price for a night with a sexy woman would be about 800 quid to 1,200 quid for a whole night. And anything from about 80 quid to about £300 per hour, depending on how sexy the woman is and what age she is. When we move across to 2012 onwards, 2013, it became more scarce, and obviously you wouldn't even find a prostitute that would even give you sex anymore. It's just blowjobs. And people would get aggressive with you and tell you that you're not supposed to be with a sexual type as well. We move on a little bit further than that. We go to around about the lockdown period, when the coronavirus lockdown occurred. The amount of prostitutes just completely died out completely. Since that lockdown occurred, so you could hardly find a prostitute anywhere at all. And then after the lockdown, all the prices shot up dramatically. We're looking at thousands, not hundreds anymore, thousands. So your average price for a blowjob for a fortnight would be about £5,000 to £8,000 for one night, just doing that. That's not sex. Back in the 1990s and before, it was hardcore sex. And hardcore means basically raw sex. Sex without a condom, the way a man wants, basically the way a man enjoys sex, and how a man would enjoy it. Because that's what he's paid for at the end of the day. But they don't see it as that anymore. Prostitutes have changed completely. They tell you that the only way you're going to get sex in the way you want it is to have a partner, or to go with someone you know, like a family member, a relative, someone you know in person, or a friend you know. If you don't know anybody, you're not going to get an outsider just do you like, you know, how you want them to do it to you. That's all ended. We're in a different time, people are changed, and obviously you've got the media to take into account as well. In 2003, I think it was, they changed the age of consent from 16 to 18, and that caused a lot of problems. And then obviously everyone being told they were a sicko, and then obviously they changed the age of buying tobacco and alcohol from 16 to 18 to 21 to 25 as well, which caused many different issues as well. Anyway, and then obviously you've got the media, the music industry, and hip-hop tunes or whatever, applying that message as well. So that's made it even more difficult for anybody to get anybody. So anyway, in 2023, I spoke to a prostitute asking if there is a possibility that you can still get sex. So, you know, with a younger person. So I said that a person in their 40s, how much would it cost for a person my age, basically, to get a younger prostitute? So she said, if you're looking for a woman aged 18 to 25 and you're above the age of 40 and you want full-on sex, hardcore style, then she said you're not going to get it. But after a bit of a debate, saying, just supposing that possibility was there, even though you said that is not, just supposing you get the 1 in a million or whatever, what would be the average price that they would charge? And I was shocked at the figure, and I'm not making it up. She said £60,000 for one night. Yes, 60,000. So I was shocked. And then for someone my age group, she said you're still looking at a good £20,000. So that's not good, is it? But anyway, if we go back to about 12 months ago or before, I was going to church praying to Jesus Christ for girlfriends and changing my lifestyle around. I did that for about 3 years. In the 3 years that I did that, my life actually got worse and worse and worse, and God was not helping me at all. And then many different things were occurring, like the glass falling out of streetlight poles, or the tiles falling off of roofs timed as I walk under it, or tree branches collapsing timed as I walk under a tree branch. Also, I've collapsed on the floor, or just suddenly had a weak part where something's occurred right as an enemy walks into my direction where he could have attacked me as well. Now if we go back to the 1960s, there's two celebrities, well-known celebrities, that were featured in the Carry On films. Sid James and Barbara Windsor. Barbara Windsor was roughly 16 years of age when she got in a sexual relationship with Sid James. Sid James was in his 50s. Back in the 1960s, that wasn't seen as a problem. But today, it's too late. I'm told on dating sites or prostitution sites from roughly 2016 onwards that if there's more than a 2 to 3 year age gap, you're known as a sicko, and people won't allow more than an age gap of 5 years. So basically, I've had my wrists and throat cut, basically. And then you've got to take into account, when I'm getting all these threats out and about by everybody, I'm the one that's being mistaken as a child rapist, and I've never had sex with children. So it gets worse and worse and worse. And when these animal curse sounds occur, which are like voice sounds, I name it as, which are just ordinary sounds that are coming out as words, but they seem to be very suggestive and very, you can pick it out very clearly. They say exactly the same as what all my enemies say. So I don't know what's caused that, whether they're bouncing on residual energy, or whether it's a curse or what. But I'm not very happy with the type of noises that are coming out. And the fact that a crow goes ha 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 when I'm being shouted at or something like that. That's another thing that occurs. So I think I've covered most of what I want to say. So how then do I get sex if I've never had anyone? Answer that. And I'm 43 years of age, and I don't take to the negative type. Everyone keep telling me to be with this Lisa Pike. Oh, I don't fancy Lisa Pike. She's negative attraction. She's the type which I nickname the unhygienic looking type, or the type that are known as toffs, or look like they're laughing backwards in a stupid way, or have that goofy look, but with like rough skin or warts or whatever. Now Lisa's not quite that bad looking, but she still comes under the category of where it's the type I don't fancy at all. You know, the start of that type. Now I don't like criticising people or insulting people, but she's just not my type, and I wouldn't be able to go with her. And she does look a lot different as well today. She actually looks very similar to my father, in fact. Obviously a bit of a longer face and a bit of an older complexion, because obviously she looks older than my father, and more sour looking in the face as well than how my father looks. But you know, people can't help the way they look, but you know, enemies shouldn't be telling me to go with this sort of person, you know, when they know the situation of all the problems that I've been through in my whole life and that. So I'll leave it there, and thanks for watching. There is one thing I did actually forget to mention, and it's quite an important thing. This is separate to prostitution. This was when I was using dating sites. Why is everyone a single mother, and why am I being told to go with a stale, used person that's been made a single mother? Why should I be responsible for a single mother when that shouldn't have been the case if enemies didn't stop me getting anyone or mess up all the possibilities that I could have had at the younger part of my earlier life? So yeah, you've got to answer that one as well. So I'm not very happy about that. I'm actually told by enemies that I'm actually a sicko if I look at anyone that's a single mother in their teens, 20s or 30s. But it gets worse, because I'm actually told that I'm supposed to fancy people older than the age Jesus Christ was when he was crucified. Now he was crucified at 33 years of age, but it gets even better, because even the age of 39, I've been told a couple of years ago that I'm a sicko because they won't allow more than a couple of years age gap on dating sites anymore, because of how fussy people are getting in a modern time, especially in the UK and the United States of America. The other thing is, you've got to take into account, is I'm being told I'm a sicko looking at someone who looks identical to someone who sexually abused me as a child, but older looking and about 15 years older than someone that sexually abused me as a child at the time they would have been when it happened. And that's how old I'm getting, and that's how fussy people are getting, and why I don't have anybody yet. It's too late to do anything. When I'm born in my next life, I'm going to have to be sexually abused again, and I'm not going to forgive Jesus Christ, and I'm not going to go to church, and I'm not going to worship a God that's been in a sexual relationship with a sexual woman. It's as simple as that, and Jesus Christ has. So I'm going to have to change my religion. But anyway, this is the end of the video. Thanks for watching.